If it weren't for my old dogs and the good Lord, they'd have me strung up in the psych ward. 'Cause every day living in this new world is one too many days to me. Son, we're on the brink of the next world war, and I don't think nobody's praying no more. And I ain't saying I know it for sure. I'm just down on my knees begging the Lord to take me home. I wanna go home. I don't know which road to go. It's been so long. I just know I didn't used to wake up feeling this way, cussing myself every damn day. There's always some kind of bill to pay. People just doing what the rich man say. I wanna go home. Now 4 generations farming the ground. Grandson sells to a man out of town. And 2 weeks later, the trees go down. Only got concrete growing around. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I don't know which road to go. It's been so long. I just know I didn't used to wake up feeling this way, cussing myself every damn day. People have really gone and lost their way. They all just do what the TV say. I wanna go home. If it weren't for my old dogs and the good Lord, they'd have me strung up in the psych ward.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
Good morning. I hope everybody's having a great start to their Friday. Thank you all for tuning in. I always enjoy these Friday morning streams. This is the Sting. So this is the 9 a.m. on Friday morning show. And then on Friday evenings, I go live at 9 p.m. Central for a live dig into, I guess you could call it, narrative warfare with true crime and conspiracy theories. We got to do our thing at 9 p.m. on Friday nights. So if you got nothing going on, make sure you're tuning in for that. But today I want to talk about the FBI, the NBA, and the mob. They're all acronyms that sound like, well, they all sound like they do a bunch of things separately, but it doesn't really seem like that now. I'm not sure if anybody has seen the government's latest headline which is they're going after illegal sports gambling rings, not just out in Idaho. If you've seen the 200 different agents rip a gentleman out of a porta potty at a horse racing track, now their next target has been set on the NBA. This is going to be very interesting to see how this continues to play out. And I have something to say about it. We're not just going to be talking about gambling in the NBA. This always ties into a bigger picture. That's how my brain works. And that's what I'm going to be diving into this morning. I want to say what's up to everybody. Adrian, Patricia, Harper, Court, Okie dokie, Lisa. Yep, that's right. Operation Royal Flush. It's a badass name, honestly. Lisa says, I can't wait for tonight. Me too. I got a good one. Adrian, 1984, is getting married today. Congratulations. I hope you have the most amazing day. That's awesome. Good morning, Luna. Inside your bones. UFO Dog says it's too early to creep in Berdino's basement. Yes, I love that as well, Lisa. Let's effing go. Discord Dawn says, you got any fun plans this weekend? What's everybody doing? I have, since Mrs. Birdie and I have gotten a cabin up north, I have gone now 3 years in a row where I wait until it is just ball shrinking cold outside to get my jet ski and the pier out of the water. Every year I say, I'm not going to do it. Babe, I'm going to plan ahead so that I do not have to do this when it's freezing cold out. Yet here we are again. And it's been beautiful in the Midwest. 65, 75, the last, pretty much since whatever quote fall started, all of October. Today it's 31 and there's a frost on the ground. So there's that. Yeah. So it's been a rough few years with that. Good morning, Steph. Gang, what's going on? $68 this morning in Florida. That must be nice. The Midwest is the best. 59 in Florida today. You were so happy. Man, if it was 59 in the Midwest, people are wearing jean shorts. Well, now, actually, if it's like 29, people in the Midwest are wearing jean shorts and they're grilling out in their front yard. That's right. It's so confusing that you guys have different usernames. Why did YouTube have to go and do this? Oh, I'm just going off your guys' pictures for the people that are tuned in. I can see some familiar usernames, but why would they do that? Now I don't know who's who. You had jackets on in Florida, the UFO Dog says, because it was recently 100. That's interesting. Marissa's tuning in from Michigan. Big forehead, big dreams. It's already 76 in my area of the swamp. It's their plan. Inside your bones. Yeah, yours stayed the same. So, okay, I want to get into it because I feel like we got a lot to unpack with this. These streams as well, like I've said, it's a little bit smaller of a group in the chat, so I want to make sure that I'm also giving myself plenty of time to chat with you all, get some comments up on the screen. But as I was saying, like the government's latest headline is they're now declaring war on sports gambling. My first thought when I saw this break with Operation Royal Flush, which has to do with the NBA and a handful of players and coaches, was, is anybody surprised in any sport? And is anybody surprised that, quote, the mafia's back? Does anybody think the mafia went away? The best analogy that I ever got was from my father. And he said, whenever somebody says, the mob just disappeared with all these, crime documentaries and they got Gotti and all this stuff. He's like, you do realize that was your grandpa's age. He's like, a lot of them are like still alive or could be still alive, especially if they were younger. He's like, you think that just goes away? He's like, no, it doesn't just go away. He's like, they just realize that they can't flaunt around and and some of them I'm sure probably do, but they just had to get smarter with it. They put it underground. And yeah, they're just it's more sophisticated. If anything, now they're maybe underground, they're able to get more powerful. Who knows? But it's not like the mafia's back, baby. They're not. I don't think they went anywhere. Honestly, I really don't. I think taking cuts from games and laundering the cash, greasing the refs, what they're calling, the line or the spread. I'm not shocked to hear that those have been influenced or rigged to some extent. And it's like the FBI just seems like it's now on this crusade to expose this. And I'm like, why? Like, not that it's not important. Don't get me wrong. I believe that it's very wrong. I think sports should absolutely be 100% authentic. I'm a purist when it comes to sports. There's times when even like the instant replay, and that's a whole different rabbit hole that I can go down on how the refs should be a part of the game. And, human emotion and that, including the refs, should be a little bit a part of the game, assuming that they're not dirty and they're not rigged, right? I mean, obviously you want to get the call right, but that could just be me and thinking like, yeah, it's a part of the game. I understand when there's millions of dollars on the lines, though, and that's a level that I've never played at, right? I'm sure that changes, but I have a ton of videos lined up for you guys. I'm going to start with this clip here, just to give anybody who's not familiar with what's going on a little bit of a background, and then I have a clip from Cash Patel, and I got some examples. I have some mind-blowing examples of people caught in 4K absolutely taking signs from the crowd on what to do in a situation during a game. It's just, I did have a feeling sometimes when I would watch the NBA, I'm like, there's no way these guys are that bad. There's no way they're that bad. You cannot possibly play this bad just randomly one game out of the year. One game out of a series. There's no way. So it all makes sense. The gut instinct is right. I saw somebody in here saying that their son is a big sports gambler. My little brother got into sports gambling at a very young age. Like right away, he went all in on it. And this dude, I could see why too. My little brother had the blessing and the curse of downloading DraftKings. I believe it was DraftKings or FanDuel, one of the two. And we would always get the pay-per-view UFC fights. My little brother had the blessing and the curse that he finished second in a contest for UFC and won 38 grand. So, I mean, he got bit by the bug right away. Just dumb luck, beginner's luck, whatever it is. And he's got his algorithms and his spreadsheets and all this stuff. And he loves it. He takes it very seriously. But it's just like, yeah, he got a taste right away. And I don't know how anybody can feel that at 18 and then just absolutely not do it again. But he's been screaming from the rooftops whenever him and I get to hang out. I don't see him as much as I would like, but whenever we get together with family and the holidays and stuff, he is spot on with some of these examples that he'll show me with like, you see this situation, now watch what this player does. And I'm like, dude, so what do they do about that? How do they call it out? He's like, they don't call it out. He's like, it's rigged. And then he gets all fired up if his line or something was all wrong. And yeah, Marissa goes, yeah, grabbed him by the balls. That's exactly right. Steph says they got paid. Sports goes along with higher up people. They want a certain team to win. They'll pay so the team can win. Yeah, the whole script thing with the NFL and how there's just an entire rabbit hole with sports rigging. Michael Jordan, the conspiracy about Michael Jordan is that he did not retire, right? He didn't want to just go and play baseball. Okay. He was allegedly caught gambling, and the NBA didn't want to ruin their poster boy. So they said, why don't you go play for the White Sox, take a year or two off, whatever it was, and then come on back. It's a great cover. The NBA keeps their, whatever. Chicago still has a bunch of headline news. The city brings in a ton of money. Jordan somewhat keeps his reputation on that because not many people thought anything of it at that point. But yeah, it's these people are smart, right? Angel Heart 7926 says, "Hi Birdie, love you. Only brilliant creators listen to other creators." Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. What's going on, Red Man? Bazaru says Italian Mafia, they're saying. The UFO dog put a quarter into a slot machine in Vegas and won $600 and just walked away with the money and never gambled again. Wow. See, actually, UFO dog, I'm also not surprised that would be you in the best way. I feel like getting to know you, kind of the way your brain works, I'm like, that's absolutely, I could absolutely see that. Son of a. Damn it. I forgot my Zins. I'll be right back. Yeah, it is a fine example of what I just said. Yeah. See, unfortunately for me, if that would have been me and I would have been in Vegas, I would have been like, I have to reinvest this. I now have to take this $600 and turn it into 6,000 somehow. Ultimately leaving with the original quarter that I walked in with that got me that money. And then I'll reason with myself in my head and I'll just say, well, I broke even. And then I'll be like, I got to go get that 600 back. And then I'll go pull $600 out of the ATM. And now it's like, son of a, I'm down $600. That's how I see the progression going. Does anybody feel that? Anybody ever been in that situation? It's not fun. Luna says, my dad has a gambling addiction. Is he good at it? Like, or is it actually, you know what? That's a very personal question. People could say, I have a gambling addiction and be really good and be really rich, or it could be, not good. Hopefully it's the good side. Gabby Girl says, Birdie, this is why I like you so much. Our brains are the same. Yeah. Birdie, today's your pop's birthday, and unfortunately no word. Oh, man. Well, happy birthday to your father, and best wishes to your mom. Hopefully everything works out with that. That's too bad. That's unfortunate. Keep us updated. Christ. Gabby Girl says, my mom passed at the casino. She was the luckiest chick alive until that day. Oh my God. That's, I mean, was it after a big win, or like, did it just freak? Like, was it just a freak accident? There's actually been people who have, I'm not making light of that. I'm very sorry to hear that. Genuinely. It's like, I've heard of people who have, who that's happened to. I was actually listening to a podcast with the general manager of the El Cortez in Vegas, and he's like, it happens more than you would think. Especially playing table games. Luna says he's good at it, but I'm thankful he still has a flip phone. Otherwise, it could be bad. Luna, okay. Is your father a bookie? Does he have a flip phone so it's not being able to get tracked? Is that sounds kind of like, well, you know what? Don't expose it if that's what it is. Maybe he's got a good front to not be technology driven with that. I'm sorry. Gabby. Sleuther Dare says, my mother-in-law and sister, literally every Wednesday just for the free gifts. Yeah, some of those casinos and their comps are crazy. Oh, okay. He's a flip phone because he's old and stubborn. Yeah, doesn't everybody have 5 flip phones that they don't have VPNs or trackers and you can't text on it? Heather B said, I had to have the dock guys come get my boat off the list because I waited too long. So embarrassing. Yeah. I called the earlier this week, I called the jet ski or the marina that I go get our jet ski winterized. And I'm like, hey, do you guys still have your end of summer special going on? And he's like, no. I'm like, what time are you open till? He's like, 3. I'm like, all right. Sounds good. Yeah. Yep. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play this clip. I got a couple of them and we will break it down.
The first case, Operation Nothing But Bet, exposed a gambling ring built around professional basketball, where players and associates allegedly used inside information to manipulate prop bets on major sports betting platforms. They placed wagers on unders on players to score less, rebound less, assist less, using information that was not yet public. In some instances, players altered their performance or took themselves out of games to make sure that those bets paid out. One example occurred on March 23rd, 2023 in Charlotte. Terry Rozier, an NBA player now with the Miami Heat, but at the time playing for the Hornets, allegedly let others close to him know that he planned to leave the game early with a supposed injury. Using that information, members of the group placed more than $200,000 in wagers on his under statistics. Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit. The proceeds were later delivered to his home, where the group counted their cash.
So I have a couple of comments. One, I don't know what it is with the press conferences in general coming out of any government building. There's this setting on a mic that you can turn down so that we don't have to hear every single lip smack and deep breath and make it sound like you're out of breath talking every time. It's so hard for me to listen to these press conferences just because of that. I can't stand hearing every breath in between people talking. I don't know why they have it so sensitive and so mic'd up. I mean, yes, you catch things on a hot mic that way, maybe, but it's all of them. It's just, I don't know. So that's kind of a little bit of a background on it. Now we're not going to watch this entire thing with, the FBI press conference on the arrest of Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones. But I do want to play this because there's a couple of things. As you guys know, if you tune in, what I do is rather than really talking just at face value of the story, there's things that get said that I'm like, why does it apply to this? Why does it apply to this? But why does it not apply to so many other things? And that's why I picked this headline, because yes, this is technically, yes, this is a crime. Okay. You can't have the wise guys, rigging basketball games. Why does nobody in the clean cut media care? Right? Why does nobody in the media throughout the entire season care to question this? And then also, so they don't care to question this, leading up to it, they're probably at every game. They know the stat lines. They're stat nerds when it comes to that stuff. And now this, though, they will go and cover the story about it then. So you're going to tell me that all these guys that have, locker room access, sideline passes, all this stuff, they don't hear anything for an inside scoop, real journalism and media. Right? And, but they'll cover the exposure, the exposing of it, rather. Now, isn't that make somebody, a normal person's spidey senses go off? So, and what True to It said, ultimately, that was my thought. I said, pretty similar to the same thing. I'm like, of all the problems, this is what they're covering. Well, it kind of comes back to the mafia was exposed. Not that they never went away, but the mafia once again was getting a cut and skimming off the top, leaving the government out of it. Not to say that the government's not a big giant mafia in some facets, but if you don't include the government in on it, that's what happens. You're seeing it on your screen right now. that's the end result. They said, well, you guys aren't holding up your end of the deal. We will cover for you. We will go along with the corruption. We just want our cut. And here's my overarching theory on this. If anybody thinks that this is just a coach and two players, nah. Nope. They are maybe choosing these players because they're easy targets. These are a little bit older of players in the NBA, older names in the NBA. Maybe that's to make it seem like, yeah. What Sassafras Griffin just says is like, yeah, so football and baseball aren't rigged. I got some video clips on that. But maybe that's why they're not choosing these superstars. But I got a superstar on camera. I got a clip. I was deep down the rabbit hole this morning on X, deep down the rabbit hole, and I found a clip from this dude on TikTok that had posted it on X, and it's mind blowing. Okay, anybody want to guess who it is on the clip? I will start to play this, and if anybody says it, I'll put it on screen. It's just mind blowing.
I'm now going to turn the podium over to FBI Director Kash Patel.
Good morning. Today we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Casa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an...
Hey, God, Chevy Metal's comment of just Cash, he needs a win. It's just that guy. Yeah, he's in a slump. He's running cold in a lot of facets, at least publicly. So yeah, he needs an easy win. Let's go after sports gambling and the mob. Low hanging fruit. I'm sure it wasn't going on. Dude, Kash Patel, anybody in the FBI director position, okay? I'm telling you, probably for the last 20 years, you could have woken up out of bed, still hammered from the night before, and said, let's go arrest people for sports gambling in the NBA and rigging games. And you could put a blindfold on, put a bunch of people's pictures up on a dartboard, throw a dart and hit it, and you probably have a decent chance of getting something on somebody. Okay? If you have like your main players that you're like, okay, you know, who might have a history or connection, boom. You do it. It's I don't know. Now finding the people in the mafia and the mob might be a little bit harder. But of course, you know, we're not seeing really anything that publicly about them. It's just the NBA players. That's the headline. That's just my take on it.
Legal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI let...
That's a great call out. Thank you, Philly Special. He has gotten a lot of children safe. That's what I mean. I apologize for that. I do not want to make light of that. And I'm also not trying to walk both sides, but that is a great point. He has absolutely saved a bunch of children. When I say he needs a win, it just seems like every time I've seen him on social media, people are saying, what is that happening for? Why is he saying that? With Charlie Kirk or with Epstein was more so what I was referring to. The children and the trafficking, absolutely.
A coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchesi crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime in the country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime. Well, this work is also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure. The men and women that are standing up here today worked tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation. And we could not have done it without our interagency partners that are before us today. The NYPD, HSI, and teams of law enforcement officials from around the country made this day possible. It takes a team to bring this kind of justice, sweeping justice, into the halls of the United States courtrooms, where our brave United States attorney has led this prosecution. It takes courageous prosecutors to stand before you and say, we will not allow this kind of illicit activity to happen, not only at the national sporting level, but also where it hides in La Cosa Nostra. And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just
so you guys know, that's the video. It's not my connection. So the video sucks. Or at least it when I was watching this earlier, it was like this too.
money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people from money, to include crypto fraud. This is an operation that showcases to you that under President Trump's administration, there is no room for any type of criminal behavior, be it on the world's largest stage or in the back rooms of tiny parlors where card games are being played. We are proud to stand here today with the men and women of the FBI and this legal team. And to the United States Attorney, I just want to thank you personally for taking the time to display the work that the media is about to hear about today in detail. As I said, it does take courageous prosecutors, but it takes a courageous United States attorney to bring this case, because we are going to take heat for it. But we don't shy away in this administration. We don't say no. What we do is we bring the results across the finish line.
That's a great point,
we bring them
Shane.
to the public. We bring you accountability. And yes, they will have their day in court, and you will hear the evidence through the court system exclusively. We will not deny anyone of due process. And that's the brilliance of this system. That's the brilliance of this administration. Everyone will be held to account. So with that, I turn it over to United States Attorney Nosal. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Patel. To be clear, we're announcing today indictments in two major cases, both involving fraud. One involves sports betting, and the other involves illegal gambling, very specifically rigged poker games. The first indictment involves 6 defendants who are alleged to have participated in one of the most brazen sports corruption since online sports betting became widely legalized in the United States. This scheme is an insider sports betting conspiracy that exploited confidential information about National Basketball Association athletes and teams. The second indictment involves 31 defendants alleged to have participated in a nationwide scheme to rig illegal poker games. These defendants, which include former professional athletes, used high-tech cheating technology to steal millions of dollars from victims in underground poker games that were secretly fixed. The games in the New York area were backed by the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families of La Cosa Nostra. While the cases are separate, there are 3 overlapping defendants charged in both cases: Damon Jones, Eric Ernest, and Shane Hennon. The indictments in these cases contain only allegations, and the defendants are presumed innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. But my message to the defendants who've been rounded up today is this: your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can...
All right. Sorry, I had a hair in my mouth on that, but I was just going to say, I'm going to go back. I'm going to play this last 10 seconds. I'm not trying to absolutely flame this guy, but just, it could be anybody standing up here. I just know that when they were what do you want to call it? Proofreading the speech before he got on the stage. I know that everybody that they were proofreading it with thought that they absolutely cooked. Yeah, damn it, Mrs. Birdie, you beat me to the line. That's exactly what I was going to say. They thought they absolutely ate with all these analogies.
And the defendants are presumed innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. But my message to the defendants who've been rounded up today is this. Your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that. First, I would like to talk about United States versus Ernest, the NBA basketball gambling case. The defendants in this case are Eric Ernest, Marvez Farley, Shane Hennon, De Niro Laster, Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach, and Terry Rozier, a current NBA player. Other co-conspirators were previously charged for their roles in the scheme, including former NBA player Jonte Porter. Between December 2022 and March 2024, these defendants perpetrated a scheme to defraud by betting on inside, non-public information about NBA athletes and teams. The non-public information included when specific players would be sitting out future games, or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses. They relied on corrupt individuals, including Jones and Rozier. They also misused information obtained through long-standing friendships that they had with NBA players and coaches. And in at least one instance, they got their information by threatening a current player, Porter, because of his pre-existing gambling debts. Defendants used this non-public information to place hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraudulent bets, mostly in the form of prop bets on individual player performance. The bets were placed through online sports books and also in person at casinos. The defendants relied on a network of straw bettors to place the maximum amount of bets to increase their potential profits. Most of these bets succeeded, and the intended losses were in the millions of dollars. The defendants then laundered their illegal winnings in various ways: peer-to-peer platforms, bank wires, and simple cash exchanges. The indictment details specific examples where the defendants profited from illegal gambling and illegal betting on various NBA games about the performance of players on, among other things, the Charlotte Hornets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Rangers. Each defendant in the NBA basketball gambling case has been charged with
My guy did not just get up here and read these charges out and say the Toronto Rangers. It's the Raptors. It's the Raptors. That's like trying to explain. Oh my God. See, this is what I'm saying. It's like, how much did this guy investigated? He said the Rangers. Now it could just be, obviously I've done that. You misspeak, but that really sounds like I shot a field goal. That's what it seems. I kicked a home run. That's kind of what it seems. Okay. It's just, it seems like just a bad time slip up, or he doesn't have any idea. And yeah, Toronto obviously is up in Canada. There's a couple of, for American sports leagues, Toronto has teams in it.
Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Rangers. Each defendant in the NBA basketball gambling case has been charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Now, I would like to turn to the other case, United States versus Aiello, the rigged poker game case. Beginning as early as 2019, the defendants in this case orchestrated a scheme to use wireless cheating technology to run rigged poker games across the United States, including in the Hamptons, Las Vegas, Miami, and Manhattan. The scheme targeted victims known as, quote, fish, who were often lured to participate in these rigged games by the chance to play alongside former professional athletes who were known as, quote, face cards. The so-called face cards included the defendant Chauncey Billups, who at the time of the scheme was a former NBA player and is currently the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, and also Damon Jones.
Hey, God, Shane has a really good point. He's like, what is bluffing in poker now a crime? And they call him fish. And again, I'm not saying the way that they're sound, just so to clear everything up, the way that the reason why they're saying fish and why they're not just saying like degenerate, whatever words you want to say, people that are just putting their entire paycheck towards poker games and there's, whatever that could be some of them, but it sounds like a lot of these would be like these people who have a lot of money. They have this amazing opportunity, like, oh, I'm going to go get to play poker with whatever. And it's a high stakes game, but it was rigged. Okay. That was what the scheme was. It's not like it's not just random, games. It was an entire organization to get people to get to go play with ex NBA stars from the way I understand it.
A former NBA player and coach. What the victims, the fish, didn't know is that everybody else at the poker game, from the deal.
It's illegal to cheat in illegal sports betting, everybody. Didn't you know? That's a top dog comment, Van Blue. Vanna Blue.
To the players, including the face cards, were in on the scam. Once the game was underway, the defendants fleeced the victims out of tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars per game. The defendants used a variety of very sophisticated cheating technologies, some of which were provided by other defendants in exchange for a share of the profits from the scheme. For example, they used off-the-shelf shuffling machines that had been secretly altered in order to read the cards in the deck, predict which player at the table had the best poker hand, and relay that information to an off-site operator.
I'm sure the Vegas casinos have not had this technology ever. I'm sure this is just random people that have done this, right?
The off-site operator sent the information via cell phone back to a co-conspirator at the table, and that person at the table was known as the quarterback. The quarterback then signaled secretly the information he had received from to others at the table, and together they used that information in order to...
It is impressive. It sounds like the real life movie that 21. What is it? Where all those college kids at Harvard would fly out to Vegas and count cards. It's kind of what it sounds like, but it's just crazy. This is crazy.
Win their games and to cheat the victims. Defendants used other cheating technologies such as poker chip tray analyzers, which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down on the table. What you see depicted on the screen right now is an example of the X-ray table that reveals the cards. Although they are face down on the table, they can be read because of the X-ray technology.
It doesn't show that. I'm just going to look that up quick. X-ray poker table. Let me just see if anything pops up on Google. Wow. This is okay, hang on. Let me throw this into the slides. So that's the X-ray table. So you can see underneath here. They'd just be able to completely see your cards wherever they would set. I mean, I would be pretty pissed about that if I, if I was some rich guy and I thought that I was, just playing a fun game with, an ex NBA star or something, and I find out they have an X-ray poker table. I mean, I could see why I'd be pissed.
The scheme. For example, they used off-the-shelf shuffling machines that had been at the table, and that person at the table was known as the quarterback. The quarterback then signaled secretly the information he had received from two others at the table, and together they used that information in order to win their games and to cheat the victims. Defendants used other cheating technologies such as poker chip tray analyzers, which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down on the table. What you see depicted on the screen right now is an example of the X-ray table that reveals the cards. Although they are face down on the table, they can be read because of the X-ray technology. The Mafia, specifically members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese organized crime families, had pre-existing control over non-rigged, illegal poker games around New York City. As a result, they also became involved in the rigged poker games, helping to organize the games and taking a cut of the proceedings, and working to enforce the collection of debts. The defendants laundered their proceeds, including through cash exchanges, the use of multiple shell companies, and through cryptocurrency transfers. As part of the scheme, some of the defendants and their co-conspirators also committed acts of violence, including the gunpoint robbery of a person in order to obtain a rigged shuffling machine, and extortions that were perpetrated against victims in order to ensure that they repaid their gambling debts. Defendants who participated in the rigged poker scheme are charged with wire fraud conspiracy. Other defendants have been charged with crimes including illegal gambling, money laundering, Hobbs Act robbery, and extortions. This case demonstrates our office's unrelenting commitment to fighting the scourge of organized crime in whatever form it takes.
What we're announcing today is not just another takedown. It's the result of more than 2 years of coordinated investigative work by the NYPD's Joint Organized Crime Task Force and the FBI. 2 cases that exposed criminal networks led by 34 individuals who believed the rules did not apply to them. They hid behind layers of complexity, behind money, and behind influence, believing those things would shield them from accountability. The first case, Operation Nothing But Bet, exposed a gambling ring built around...
So we watched this then in the beginning. That was the first clip that I played. Now, this is... let's just say this was the name. I don't know if this has been debunked as far as a clip, but I'll just go ahead and I will leave this here. Let's actually let me set this to play on repeat. Does anybody recognize that person?
This shit red. Look at this shit. You just gave him the signal. He like,
dude,
nah, I can't even do it. You know, you got to. Can't even do it.
All right, ChatGPT.
This shit red. Look at this shit. You just gave him the signal. He like, nah, I can't even do it. You know, you got to. Can't even do it.
All right, ChatGPT.
Now, I that's what I was saying. I'm not sure if it was debunked. You know, it's just a fan telling him to make a comeback. being like, bro, there's less than a minute. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, it's suspicious. Everything becomes suspicious with headlines like that. There's this other compilation of, let me show you, Mr. Rozier. Let me just find this footage. Of course, whenever that happens, the headlines just get eaten up. You can't just see. Oh, here's the exact moment that Terry Rozier faked an injury. So that gave it away, everybody. That is what blew this entire thing open. That's what I mean. Somebody had to snitch, right? Can we also wrap our head around that?
Guys, you feel free to weigh in now, Shaq. You've heard from Shams.
Crazy. So this is over in London. Now, one of the things with the NFL is, one of the things with the NFL is that you would think that the NFL would make this whole. Okay, so this is a kicker, and what essentially happens is in London, the camera that like it looks like the spaceship, the alien camera that can drop and go whatever, and it comes down on the field. It's on the cables over their heads over the field. The ball hit that cable, and you'll clearly see it in this video. Okay, it's a missed field goal. Now, what do you do in that position, right? Do you mark it against the guy's statistics like he missed it? Yes. Do you redo the kick? What are the rules? Well, that from a game standpoint, yes, it matters, right? It's unfortunate, but from a money swing standpoint, the spread on this game, on a foreign game over in a different country, who knows how much money is being bet on that game since it's in that country, right? This happens. It's a little bit weird. Now, there's chances to it. There's coincidences, but you'd think that the NFL would make that whole, right? Well, here's the clip of it. You'll see the ball hit it.
From the right hash, kick is Fulton, right to the right. He had been perfect all season. It remains a 3-point.
I mean, it's very obvious. It's very obvious that it hits it. Now, here's what the NFL chooses to do instead. I want you guys to listen to Al Michaels. Listen to the announcer. Can't remember who was the announcer for this game. Just listen. This is just remarkable. I have the subtitles up top. That was what the NBA or the NFL said. The NFL said, no. What happened last week in London with the wire, that was an optical illusion. I'll play that again. That's insane. And then he's like, yeah, the league wants to eat my lunch because I said the only missed stat that this kicker has is from when it hit the cable. And they go, no. It was an optical illusion. Are you kidding me? Oh, that's really something, isn't it? And then here's something else that's just remarkable. This is just funny.
That radio command link. Actually, actually, it's a link along that tether line you see there, 25 feet of umbilical cord. That contains the life support system and communications link from the spacecraft life support system out through that chest pack.
Does anybody remember watching this on TV by chance? Is there anybody in here that's old enough to remember this? Because this is just, it's kind of insane. It's really insane. And I'm not being mean when I say that, but think about how many people believe this because they didn't believe that it was possible to view it. Now, knowing what we know, it's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. Now, I want to try to find this real quick to end the stream here. I want to show you guys this. Hopefully I can find it. I'll play that again. That's just
Radio command link. That's it. Actually, it's a link along that tether line you see there, 25 feet of umbilical cord. That contains the life support system and communications link from the spacecraft life support system out through that chest pack.
all right. Let me I found the video. Let me just pull it up here quick. It's it's on X.
Why on earth
this is different, but
would we be covering the mouth up 12 with 5 seconds? Oh, because the spread was 11.5. Gary Payton is gambling. The Warriors are up now by 13 points. All is good, but what's with the little schoolgirl chatter going on right here? Why on earth would we be covering the mouth up 12 with 5 seconds? Oh, because the spread was 11.5. Look at this. He even says they might have to shoot again. Oh my God. And there's only one reason, Steph Curry, you cover your face up 12, because you're gambling, okay? So here we go. Second free throw, going to put him up 14 points, and all we have to pray for is no threes. No threes, and they cover. All right, so now the Wizards covered. The plus 11.5. Let's look in on Gary. Bro, the team just won by 11.
Oh my God, I had not seen that clip yet. That was just on. Let me pull up this video here quick. That's rather obvious. Okay, this chick, this video. This video is so well said. This is Chelsea Explains It All. Okay, it's 2-minute clip. Tell me that she is not just I think she's just speaking facts from a 40,000-foot view about the way of the world in a way.
I'm working on a new theory. I promise I'm not high. I've just been walking my dog without my headphones, and this is what's been happening. I'm calling it the excluded tools theory, okay? This is how it started in my brain. I thought, a scientist could probably come up to me and convince me that they have really invented a time machine and that I'm allowed to try it out. And maybe other people tell me, yeah, we tried it. It's crazy. We went back to ancient Rome. We went back to ancient Egypt. It was amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I want to try this. I want to go. So I get into the time machine. I believe the machine. I believe the scientists. And I get out, and sure enough, I'm in ancient Rome, right? Or so I think. But all the tools that I could use to prove that this isn't actually ancient Rome are excluded from this simulation by its very nature, right? There's no GPS. I don't have access to a car. I can't drive to the edge of what could be a set to see that this is just a set. Maybe it's a set in the middle of the desert. I can't prove that. I don't have the tools. They have been excluded from this reality. So then think about present day, okay? I don't have the tools to get to the bottom of the ocean, to go to outer space. I just have to believe what people tell me is going on there, because the tools have been excluded, or maybe they don't exist, and maybe reality's real. That could be true. But what I'm realizing is there are so few things that I can prove, like with my own mind, body, and experience. And this is what's forming the very bottom of what I'm calling the trust stack. Okay, that's part of this theory. The trust stack is basically, the very bottom is the things that you know to be true, the things that you can sense, your eyes, your ears, you trust that you're conscious. And then right above that, things start to get real dicey, okay? Because right above that comes a lot of things that we can't actually prove. We trust other people, we trust books, we trust media, but that's getting real shaky, okay? The other day, I fully believed a video for like 30 seconds that a dog had brought a bear in with him through the doggy door and they were jumping on the bed. Okay, obviously that didn't really happen, but I'm just saying that's part of the trust stack. And now the trust stack is more crumbly than ever. It's always been crumbly. Don't come into my comments and be like, we can never trust the media. Like, yeah, I know, okay? That's my point. We agree. But then you think about even more abstract things like, I don't know, the stock market. You get on a Zoom call, you just trust that those are real people. But with AI getting so good and us realizing how easy it actually is to be fooled, it just has me thinking like, we could be on that set, that ancient Rome set. Because how are we going to get to the edge to ever figure out that it's not real? We really couldn't do it. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is just like a thought that I had, that if you could fake any reality very easily by just excluding the tools that would be needed to prove that that reality is fake. Does that make sense? Like, what is something that you believe is real, but you can't prove it's real? Or what's something that you believe is fake that you can't prove is fake? Let me know in the comments, okay?
I think that's a good take. But anyways, Hive, I have to go and freeze my ass off and get my jet ski out of the water for the third year in a row, way too late into the year. I am stoked for this evening's live dig. So here's what I have planned. I've been compiling screenshots of Brian Koberger, this out that in the most non-weird way, strictly investigative. And I want to show you guys something as a teaser of this rabbit hole that I've gone down. If you've been tuning in, you're well aware that I've mentioned Brian Koberger has little to no digital footprint for being born in 1994, right? Little to no footprint. Now, I'm watching last night the sidebar on, I think it's Law and Crime. I'm watching their sidebar thing. And they have like an 18-minute interview with some lawyer, and they're showing all these pictures of Brian Koberger, and the way that they're talking, they're saying Brian Koberger, if he couldn't cause more pain from behind bars, now he's fighting the restitution payment to the families. And Ann Taylor's arguing, well, the GoFundMe's were over that by tens of thousands of dollars in the Idaho state law. It's like, I don't know, 14 grand for injuries caused to the victims and any bills and stuff. They're trying to say it's for travel fees and yada, yada, yada. We're going to be diving into that tonight, but they showed these two pictures, and I thought to myself, what the actual hell is this? What is even this? That's what I want to know. Here we go. Tell me, we're supposed to believe this is the same guy? This is the same man on the left as the right. Does anybody believe that? Do they look similar? No, the guy over here, he kind of has that same face build as the dude that went into Sandy Hook, that Adam Lanza guy, right? So it's like I'm like, what is this look here? What is this look that all these lone wolf actors seem to have? And this, okay, first of all, I can tell you this. This dude right here looks nothing like Frankenstein's awkward nephew, as I've been joking about, where he shuffles into the grocery store. Okay, this guy looks like he'd be the quarterback. Just kind of tell it from the face. Does anybody pick it up what I'm putting down? There's like pattern recognition that we have as humans. It's instinct. Trust your gut. Do you know what I mean? If you were to vote, is this dude on the right athletic? You'd probably say more likely than not. Is this guy on the left athletic? No, probably not. This guy, it's just, so somebody tell me, does the guy on the right even look like a creeper? Does anybody think he looks like this weird loner? Does anybody think that the guy on the right is having any problem with the ladies? And I mean that in the most non-weird way. I'm talking from the narrative. Even just facial hair structure, the eyes, the nose, it just looks so different. You think it looks like the same person? Harper Steele? That is, it looks close. I don't know. I don't think it looks like, and I have like 4 other. So then we have this photo. See, now this is the point that I'm making. Okay. This is the point that I'm making. So we have these, and then we have this. Okay. The point that I'm making is right here. Okay. The guy on these two, I could see a little bit more. But tell me, I don't know. And also, it's funny, Brian Koberger has his thumb up in this picture, just like the trophy picture. Isn't that also remarkable? He would take pictures in the same pose, but that specific one's a trophy picture. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's different people for sure. I'm just saying it's just wild that, I don't know. I've never seen BK with scruff. And here's the other thing. When Brian Koberger gets arrested, when Brian Koberger gets arrested at his house in Pennsylvania, let me just pull this up. Doesn't the entire face structure look completely different in every photo, guys? Yeah, I've lost a lot of weight too in the past, and yeah, your face looks, but I'm like, guys, this is all taken, I don't know. These are from, I don't know. It just looks different. Just looks different, in my opinion. But anyways, we're going to be diving into all this evening, 9 p.m. Central. Do not miss it. I will see you all then. I hope you have a great Friday. Cheers, everybody.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, It's a new day. It's a new life.